Welcome to the Wedco podcast, where wedding wisdom meets street smarts.
We're dishing out all the tips, tricks, and wedding goss to take your wedding to the next level.
Time to ditch the formalities and get this party started. Hello and welcome to the Wedco podcast. I'm Toga.
And I'm Joel, and we're here at Greenview in Cabarita.
We certainly are. And today we have both of us in the studio.
It's like, how do we start these things?
So today we thought we'd just sit down and have a chat together and just go over a few different topics. That have really been bugging us in the wedding industry. Not really.
Not really.
But no, just have like more of a chance to have a little bit of chat because we never really get to on the podcast.
For sure. Yeah, I think we've got a lot to talk about, which is, I guess, somewhat of the reason. I guess not really, but it's part of the reason why we started the podcast was, you know, the industry can be sometimes a bit lonely, and obviously we've always we're not necessarily business partners, but we've always been, you know, very in each other's corner and each other's pocket for any decisions and stuff that we do. We bounce a lot of ideas and stuff like that off each other, and coming from different times in the industry. Like you've been in it for, how long are you in it for now?
37 years, I think. No, it's probably 13, somewhere in there.
13 years, and then I've been in it for 6. So I feel like, there's old knowledge and then there's like newer things. Like
exactly,
Instagram marketing wasn't a thing for you when you first started. So
I feel like we almost need to have someone that's come on like the last 6 months or something as well.
For sure.
Because there probably is still like so much to learn outside of what we know as well.
100%.
Like how much pushback, like TikTok, I'm like, I'll post it there, but I'm like, I hate it.
Yeah.
But there's probably someone eating that up and booking weddings from TikTok.
Yeah. Well, there's a guy, I cannot remember his name for the life of me. I actually don't really watch him all that much. It just comes up in like reels and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think he's newy, or I don't know. He's somewhere in Australia, and he just like I think he has just like a camera rig with like a Insta360 camera on the top of it, and he just films all this BTS. And so it's because it's a 360, it can film him like talking.
Okay.
But then it can it's already recording the other side of the camera as well.
Oh wow.
And so it's filming. So he can like almost have this interaction of like, one of the I saw Brendan Creaser do this recently, and he was saying like, everyone always hugs on the right, on the left hand side.
Yeah.
And so he can have the conversation, but then because he's got the Insta360, he's having the conversation, but then he can edit it. So then it then cuts to people hugging on the left hand side, and then he cuts to his images from that same kind of time. And I'm like, oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
But I'd never do that because that's just more stuff that's hanging off the cameras. But I'm like, it's epic.
Yeah.
And like,
I saw a couple of like commercial dudes even like with the gimbals and stuff like that, and they got the add-ons for like the phone, even for like proper commercial gigs. And they're recording with the gimbal on their camera, and then they've got the phone vertical next to it.
Yeah.
And they're just like, well, we don't have much time. We got to get as much content as possible.
Yep.
And so they're shooting, you know, the reel essentially here, and then like their finished project over here.
Yeah.
And they do that all day.
Crazy.
And like, it's probably not that hard to add on to, but it would add like such value to the client as well afterwards. Yeah.
100%. I even think like with the rise of like content creators, and it's like, maybe I'm not going to be loved for saying this, but if that was that simple, you almost wouldn't really need a content creator, because we could just put the phone on the side of our camera and just get BTS from the day.
Yeah,
like
for
I
sure.
already feel like I'm not getting content for the day, but I get 5 or 6 shots from a wedding because I want to use it for socials. And I mean, I don't guarantee it, but you know, clients are going to love that. But like, if you just were like, yeah, cool, like we're going to get you BTS for the day. Yeah. It's just like an easy little add-on for most photographers or videographers. Like
exactly.
A nothing thing. I know that's like goes against content creators. I'm not trying to create enemies or anything like that. But I think it's been good in the terms of like talking content creators. I think it's been good for the industry in the sense of, I think we get complacent.
Yep.
And then it just, there's something comes in and disrupts you a little bit. Of course, it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But all in all, like it kind of puts a firecracker up your bum. Yeah. Like same as like, you know, Lauren, the celebrant, you know, she comes in, absolutely like smashes business straight like day one. And then I think in her first year booked like 300 weddings or 200 weddings or something like that. Like that's going to put a firecracker up a lot of celebrants' arms.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Exactly.
So I think it's a good thing.
They're going to be super angry, like, how come I'm not getting that? Or they're actually going to do something about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's an easy segue into like where we are now and like talking about, it's been a conversation we've talked about a bunch where like how we're getting bookings and what we're needing to get bookings and
My perception has changed so much on this because like, even like last time I recorded, I was like, no one's getting married.
Yep.
Just no one's booking anymore. There just isn't weddings around to book. The economy's quiet, everything like that. And like finally, like I've started advertising with that advertising agency.
Yep.
And it's been insane.
So
and
good.
it's like, it's just, you're like, oh no, people are still booking weddings.
Yeah.
It's just, I wasn't doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And so it just like really opens your eyes like, well, you can't play that game anymore. You can't play the poor me anymore because there is weddings to get. You just got to do something different as well.
Yeah.
How are you going like as far as like all your bookings, like Instagram still?
Yeah. Like I'm like other side of the fence where I'm not really doing much.
Yep.
I'm probably doing a little bit more in the sense of like I'm trying to be way more conscious of sending galleries after the wedding to like other vendors and stuff like that.
What's the new thing with PicTime? I haven't checked it out yet.
So there's a vendor tab.
Yep.
And you essentially you'll over time create a database. So like Gavin Bar or whoever, I can set you up and you'll have a Tognazini's vendor tab in my thing, and then I can just assign you to that
awesome.
thing. So then, and then it'll just automatically within PicTime, I'll be able to send you that gallery rather than like how I've done it in the past. And this is why I know it's a silly little thing, but I've got to like go on someone's website or go on someone's Instagram, find their email. Then I've got to copy the link into an email. And then it just like it was something, again, it probably took 5 minutes, but if you got to do that with 10, 20 different vendors, it's a pain in the bum. Whereas this way you can just be like, in my questionnaire, I've just got all of my vendors. And so I can just be like, cool, Lauren was the celebrant, put her in and boom, boom, boom. And then I can just click send and it'll automatically send it to all of them. So it's like epic.
Love it. They're lifting the game. Have you got added to the video delivery too?
No.
Yeah. So I just got added to the beta for that.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So they're doing video now as well.
When did you get added to that? Recently?
3 or 4 days ago.
I probably was only on maybe a week ago.
Yep. Yeah.
Probably
so
I'm not important enough.
No, as soon as it came out, like you joined the beta, I did it like straight away because I'm like, I just want to check that out. But yeah, it looks like they're definitely going to move towards that. So like now doing photo, video.
Brilliant.
Everything can all be in that same one as well.
Is that competing with that other company?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
As good?
It's different because it doesn't feel as clean as what the other one is. But still, I think it's just an easy way to have like everything in one place.
Yep.
I think the ease of having that probably trumps the other way.
Sure. That's why I never really jumped over to, we may as well just say it, but that's why I never really jumped over to VidFlow.
Yeah.
Was because I felt like it was just another thing that I had to have. I mean, I guess I'm paying for Vimeo anyway, but yeah, it just didn't, I was like, cool, I got PicTime over here and I got Vimeo. I don't know, I just want something all in one. Yep. Whereas Vimeo, I can at least just embed that link into PicTime and send that out.
So now I guess it just must be native rather than having to go to Vimeo and then do the embed over. You should be able to do it within. I don't know what the pricing structure is going to be in the future. Yeah. But at the moment it's just like free because obviously it's beta.
Bro, love that.
But yeah, it'll be pretty handy.
That's sick.
Yeah.
But I guess like going back to like bookings and stuff, pretty much all my stuff is coming through Instagram. Like we were saying before, like I've averaged one booking one inquiry every day this year. Yeah. So
that's insane.
On average, I'm getting 30 a month. Yeah. I'm not booking that much. Yeah. Which that's where I feel like some people they'll get leads, but they can convert 10%. Yep. Which is fun. Like that's where I'm sitting at. Yep. I don't need more leads. Yeah. Like for me, it wouldn't make sense for me to go on this marketing agency because I get enough leads.
Exactly.
I just need to, if I wanted to, I just need to do a better job at converting those leads, which I for sure could. Yep. I guess it's just that and there is moments where when I'm needing some cash and I'm needing some bookings and stuff like that, I like ramp it up and like get really, really into it. Yep. And then when I'm good, I just kind of chill and go play golf.
Yeah. How could you ramp it up if you needed to right now? What does that look like?
One thing that's always really worked for me, I talk really well. I talk better than I email. Yep. So almost for me, starting business, it was always like a point of difference. Like coming from sales background, it was always like, what makes you different to someone else? If if this couple is getting on and they're sending an email to their 17 different favorite photographers, it's probably the same generic email. Some might change it up because they do love your stuff or whatever, but they're probably still sending, 3 or 4 different photographers a similar email. And so then you get the email, you send back typically a pretty standard template. So that's like the bare minimum, I believe. And that's kind of what I do most times. I've still tailored it to them, but for me, the point of difference from that bare minimum is I want to get them on a Zoom call. But then if I wanted to ramp it up and like start converting more, it'd just be as simple as like jumping on a phone call. Jumping on a phone call and actually replying to the lead way sooner. Heard this thing once and it was like, if you send, I can't remember what the stat was, but it was like, if you get back to an inquiry in the first 30 minutes or 10 minutes or something like that, you've got like an 80% more chance of booking that lead than if you left it a day or two. And there's 100% moments where I've like just been wrapped up with busyness or laziness or whatever. And 5 days later, you're like, oh yeah, I'll send that lead. And it's like, dude, they're gone. Like you got that guy that's in business for 2 years and he's like hustling. Like he's already booked them.
For
or
sure.
She.
How do you get people on the phone though?
Are
you struggling to get people to get back to you to be like, yes, let's have a phone call?
So the times where I'm calling people is the times I'm hustling. And they're the times that I'm almost living on my phone for like inquiries. And so I almost feel like I try and call them as soon as I see that lead, or maybe like give it 10 minutes or something. But like I try and I'll just call them. I would say probably 70% of the time they'd pick up. And then other times they wouldn't. I'd just send them a text and be like, hey, it's Joel from Wonderful Images. Just try to give you a call because I saw your lead come through. When's a good time to call? For me, you don't want to just like send back a generic email because then they've got all the info. I guess this is my sales background. You don't want to give them all the answers because now they've got all the answers and no questions. And so you want them to have questions so that you can answer them or get them to, I'm going to go way down a rabbit hole of sales, but like you want to get them on a yes train. Like this is what you want. Is this what you want? And blah, 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 blah. Try and like tick off their boxes and try and I guess like somewhat solve their problems. So yeah, try and jump on the phone call with them. Most of the time I feel like most answer, especially if they just sent you a lead. Like
for sure.
If they sent you a lead and you saw it the next day, they might be at work or whatever. Like if they sent that lead and it's middle of the day or whatever, quickly give them a call. They might be on the lunch break. Might have the day off or something at work.
For sure. I think it's good. Like I was just saying, I said earlier that on my contact forms, I've added like, hey, do you mind if I give you a call? And so like, I feel like people that say yes, they're almost like pre-qualifying themselves that they're pretty much ready to go by that stage.
For sure.
And it's so nice. And like, cause I feel super awkward trying to give someone a call and just like, when, you want to get a water filter for your house. And then all of a sudden you got like 5 companies calling you straight away. I'm like, I just wanted a price. I don't care what you have to say. But like as soon as they say like, yes, give me a call, I'm like, yes, like this is awesome. And I feel like, the bookings have gone up so much from just having that answer, like, yes. I think it's probably even more so than I feel confident giving them a call.
Definitely.
Not like, oh, hey, how are you? Like,
have I got you at a good time?
Yeah, exactly. And like feeling real awkward about it.
And I think, like how you were saying, 5 businesses give them a call and stuff like that. If all that couple wanted from me was a price, I'm probably not booking them anyway, in my opinion. If they want a price, I'm not the cheapest photographer or videographer, and they're probably going to go with someone cheaper or what. Like what I'm delivering isn't just like wedding photography or like it's an elevated visual or whatever. I'm giving you an experience. And that's like why I'm trying to like, cool, you like my photos? Let's jump on a Zoom call. You can have a chat to me. You can get to know me. You can see that I'm a jokester and I'm going to like bring a good vibe on the day. That's probably what most people, I shot an elopement on Monday and they were like, oh, you're worth triple what you charge. And I was like, awesome. You can pay me that if you like.
Exactly. There is a tip thing.
And it wasn't like, that was on the day of the wedding. So it's not like they had seen any of the photos or anything like that. They were just talking about that client experience of like, oh, like you've made us so comfortable. You've made us laugh all day. And this has just been a super relaxing experience, especially from, he's a person that doesn't love photos and stuff. So like it's more so that rather than like, you're not just paying for pretty photos, you know?
Exactly. And that's the difference, I think, is like having, like they just want to be comfortable. And that's a difference. Like there's so many people that can take a photo or take videos, but it's like how comfortable they feel in their skin in those photos that makes a difference between a good and a, you know, not so good photographer or videographer. For sure.
And like I've worked being a videographer, I've shot weddings on video where you're working with a photographer that you've looked up to for like so many years, and you're like, dude, this is like awesome. I'm going to get to learn from one of the best.
Exactly.
And you get there on the day and they're dog shit.
Yeah.
Like
or they're just like flying the wall and you're like, you're not giving them anything.
Yeah.
You're like, come on.
Like, oh, I'm better than this.
Yeah.
Like it's not trying to be egotistical, but you just like, and don't get me wrong, they get flipping 6 shots, but you're just like, oh, I wonder if like your client experience could be better. Like you could have said things more, like we've talked about it in the past where this couple didn't feel, you know, together because they were doing parent stuff all morning. So we're just like, go take 5.
Yeah.
And then in 5 minutes we'll come grab you and you've had 5 minutes to yourselves without cameras, kids, planners, florists, like all the things. So yeah, I don't know.
Awesome. All right, well, let's segue real quick.
Yep.
So time onto. So there's so many different ways to market and to do well in business. I feel that there's like your Instagram, there's ads, your website, there's styled shoots,
magazines,
trails, and trails and stuff like that. What do you find outside of Instagram would be the best use of your time for building your business? Like say you wanted to book, you know, 5 more jobs a year. Would you be putting your effort into ads, trails? Trails can kind of go with styled shoots where you're like kind of connecting with more vendors.
Yeah.
Like what do you think?
I'm big on industry, and I think it's something that you've talked to me early in the gist of it all, where it's like you were on your venue's preferred vendor list, because they knew you got along with them, you delivered a good client experience, all these things, and so. Yeah, whereas if you're just going to, you know, a magazine and throwing money at them, or if you're doing those things, there's not really, and you're not alone. You're not really doing anything different. There's 10 other photographers that are throwing money at a magazine or, you know, trails. There's 3 photographers at that venue, and that couple's going to 6 different venues that day. So they're going to see a bunch of flipping photographers, and then they're going to go home, they're going to look up all their Instagrams, then they're going to go on the venue's Instagram and they're going to check all those out, and then they're probably going to find another photographer or something like that. So for me, it's a good one. If I was to spend the money, I don't know, what would you do? I guess yours is advertising, but like where would you do?
I think like it's hard because you said to me not long ago, you're like, say these ads work, would you still do the podcast? Would you still do the trails? Would you still do the styled shoots? Because like I've literally been doing everything.
Yeah.
Because like I've been really quiet and I'm like stressing out for next year. And then I just paid money to an advertising agency that did a good job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, epic. And then it makes you actually think, you're like, I'm putting in so much effort everywhere else. If I just put money into ads, is that enough that I don't need to do any of this other stuff? I think like I did a trail a couple weekends ago, and I think the best thing, like I didn't have a stall set up. I kind of just walked around and got photos and video, and it was actually really fun hanging out with the other vendors and not trying to sell.
Yeah.
So I'm almost thinking about doing more of that kind of stuff and like hanging out with vendors and other industry people and not trying to sell to any couples whatsoever. I just enjoyed it.
And I would agree with that perspective. Like I hit up Mandy from Ivy and Blue recently, and I was like, hey, let's get you more weddings, knowing, you know, where we're at in the industry and stuff like that right now. And I was like, cool. Like obviously she's a really close friend of mine. So I'm like, I want to see you book more weddings. But also hopefully that's going to do a return for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Not that it's not like quite that sleazy, but like my true heart behind it genuinely, like she's a good friend. And I was like, I just want you to like be crushing it again, you know?
For sure.
But naturally for me, you know, I do a favor here. Hopefully a favor comes back in return. You do good and you get good. That's like probably more so where I'd be, of just like relationships from within the industry. and I guess maybe that's probably part and parcel why we started this podcast, is because we probably both value the relationships that we're building.
Yep.
And the conversations that we're having, the people that we get to see and speak to, the people that come on, they get to see and speak to other people. They go to weddings. I saw you on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
It was so good. And now that all of a sudden, like, everyone's having proper conversations at weddings, rather than just like, oh, hey, like, I'm Joel. Nice to meet you. And you're just like, I followed you for like 4 years.
Yeah. I met you 8 times last year.
yeah. So great to meet you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably, relationships for sure.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I don't know. I'm just man, it feels like for me, and we're in different perspectives, where it's like, I feel like it's getting to the point where it is just pay to play at the moment, especially like with Instagram, especially like no matter how much content I'm slack anyway, but like how much I create, it doesn't seem to make a difference with bookings or leads or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that some ads that are just getting pumped out, $50 every single day, and I'll end up getting, like 41 leads last month. I usually get like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And like how big a difference that is. But I would pay that every single month if I just knew that was going to keep coming like that. There's no reason for me to turn it off.
Yeah.
But there's also no reason for me to do anything else either.
Yeah.
Because like the whole thing is, I guess, if you book 40 weddings a year, it means you're going to get 40 weddings that you're going to be able to reshare all the other vendors' work from those 40 weddings.
Yep.
And so that by itself is already going to make you busier for the next, that's already doing enough marketing and everything for you regardless anyway.
Definitely.
So, but then I'm also looking at like kind of the VA side of things. That'll be the next part that I move to, where I've just got a full dedicated VA that will be doing all the stuff that you tell yourself you're supposed to do and you never do.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna create a wedding album for every single wedding, even if they don't. Send that to the client, and you sell one wedding every month. That's going to pay for your VA for the whole month.
Yep. Sure.
Get them to send out the gallery to every single vendor. Send the gallery to 3 different publications every single time.
Yep.
Get a run sheet done 3 months out when it should be done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I feel like for me, like I've been doing this by myself for so long, and I'm finally getting to the point where, we've got the video editors in place. We've got the photo editor. We've got advertising agency now. Next will be VA.
Yep.
So it's almost getting to the point where like, then you can kind of oversee and make sure the business is doing really well as a whole.
Yeah.
But now I can just really focus on taking photos, taking video, and that's it.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is what I did so much last year. Like I did 60 weddings last year, where 20 were for myself and 40 were for other people.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's such a waste of time, even though it's fun to hang out with people.
Exactly.
It's like, I needed to just be doing this for myself.
Yeah, like if you were doing 60 weddings for yourself, like you'd be triple the money.
Exactly. It'd be ridiculous.
Yeah. And like way more time for the fam and stuff, like way more.
Yeah, for sure.
You'd have that cash flow to be able to be like, cool, 100%,
exactly.
VA this, VA that, like whatever you need. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the goals for the moment anyway.
Nice.
Cool.
Epic.
All right, we'll wrap it up.
Thanks very much.
See you, mate.
Good chat.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Wedco podcast. We're dropping a fresh episode every week featuring industry professionals dishing out the wedding wisdom you need to turn those dreams into reality. Make sure you are following us on social media, you have those notifications turned on so we can help plan your wedding day. Your dream wedding day just got a whole lot easier. Thanks for listening.